All right. Hello, hello, hello. We are back. Now I gotta get comfy. Moo, you traded me in for a pillow? What kind of cat are you? Oh, still waiting, guys. Rebecca Cannon, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Dolly passed away? Dolly. Who Dolly? No, she did not.
Did you
Bullcrap.
hear Dolly
Dolly
Parton
Parton
passed
passed
away?
away? No, she
Yes,
didn't.
she did. I just posted it on my TikTok.
Oh, man.
I'm shook.
That's so upsetting.
It is. I love her and I love her coat of colors. And my kids get imagination library books every month from her.
Oh,
Yeah, the imagination library books. Have you guys heard of that? She gives you a free
no.
book. Yeah, she gives you a free book every month, each kid from 3 months old, I think, to 5. And the first book she always gives is um, The Little Engine That Could.
Really?
Yeah,
Man, I'm so upset.
I want to cry. I'm not
So am
kidding.
I. I like Dolly. I like her personality. I like what she stands for. I like her realness. Like, I do. I like Dolly. I like Dolly Parton. What did she die of? I didn't think she was sick or anything.
I don't know. Chris asked, but
You'd never know. Like, don't be
uh-uh.
Googling it because it may end up in a trial. Just
Well,
saying.
she just opened up her Dolly Parton gas station that's kind of like Bucky's. She
Really?
Yeah, she was just on the news about that.
I wonder what. She doesn't seem like a druggie to me. I just
Maybe
saw
she
her
was just
opening up her
sick.
travel stop in Tennessee. Really, Rebecca? Oh, man. I mean, she was up there in age, though. How old is she? She's been sick for over the past year. Was she really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that. She hit it well. Kidney
Isn't
failure.
she kidney failure?
Man.
It, she was married to the same man
I don't
for
even they were
like
married. Were they married? Him and her and
yeah,
what's his name? It's gonna bother me now. I don't think they were married.
they were married, they just never had children.
Were they married?
Yep.
She was 80 years of bullshit. Oh, she was
That's
80 years
young
old.
in my opinion,
She was
though.
my mother's age. Wow. That's crazy.
His name's Carl.
Yeah, he was never in the spotlight. Carl Thomas Dean.
Carl Dean, yeah.
They were married for 60 years until he passed away last year.
Maybe she kind of had a broken heart too.
Yeah, they say that, if you had a good, you know what I mean, they usually don't last long.
I keep hearing things in the bushes outside, and I went to go look, and it's my father-in-law doing yard work. Way in the distance, it scared me.
That's funny. Susan, did you hear about Dolly? I'm so upset. I really am. Not very many things like that. I mean, I don't want to say they don't bother me. But you kind of like, they're upsetting and it's like
It's
that one.
Dolly.
Yeah, that one I feel like definitely,
She's
definitely.
an icon.
Yeah,
I hope somebody keeps doing her imagination library books for those kids,
yeah.
and Dollywood, and that
My
The
kids love
Christmas.
Dollywood.
I've never been, but I live only
Oh,
what, 8 hours away. It'd be
Third
worth
jury
it.
trial, Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy.
here we
All
go.
parties are present excluding the
Round two,
jury.
guys.
All right. Counsel, you all set for the jury? Yes. Yes, counsel? All right.
If you guys can do me a favor, repost this, share that out. You can message it to a friend who you think might want to come hang out, guys. We appreciate it.
There is still a trial scheduled in Brockton on Monday.
She did.
Court, all rise. Jurors entering.
All but Lindsay Clancy rise.
Wonder if anybody in the jury's going to be sad because they found out Dolly Parton passed away. Oh, they're not supposed to have their phone.
I was just going to say, they probably don't know. Not yet, Loopy. I don't know who the last witness is.
Record, we return back to the jury trial in the matter of Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy. All parties are present, including the defendant and including the 18 jurors.
All right. Como?
Thank you, Your Honor. The Commonwealth calls Dr. Gregory Satoff.
Oh, that's right. That's the guy we looked up last night. The Virginia medical. Yeah. I've seen him, guys. Where do we know him from?
Good afternoon, sir. You stop right there. Raise your right hand for the clerk, please.
Good afternoon. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony and the evidence you shall give to the court and the jury, the matter now pending between the Commonwealth and the defendant, the file shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You may have a seat.
Really, Nikki?
All right. Good afternoon, doctor. All right. Attorney Sprague?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Yes, first name is Gregory. Gregory, last name Saathoff, Saathoff.
And can you describe for us your educational background?
Yes,
Hey, sunshine.
I received my undergraduate degree at the University of Notre Dame, and then my medical degree, my MD, at the University of Missouri, and then my residency in psychiatry at the University of Virginia.
And can you describe for us your occupation?
Yes, I'm a professor of emergency medicine and public health sciences at the University of Virginia. I also see patients in the Virginia Department of Corrections, where I also teach students. And I also serve as the senior psychiatrist for the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit in Quantico.
And how long have you been the senior psychiatrist for the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit, or BAU?
Since 1996.
And are there other psychiatrists who contract with the FBI for that department?
Well, certainly for the FBI writ large, there are psychiatrists who work with them. But as for the Behavioral Analysis Unit at Quantico, we We sometimes have Walter Reed fellows who are psychiatrists. But other than that, I am the psychiatrist for the behavioral analysis unit.
And what does that entail?
It entails working with the behavioral analysis units on crimes and concerns, whether it is with children. I'm occasionally asked to consult with the behavioral analysis unit relating to children, crimes against children, also crimes against adults, and also national security issues, and in particular issues relating to threat assessment.
And are you, or do you consider yourself a forensic psychologist?
Psychiatrist, yes.
Sorry, I apologize. And what is the role of a forensic psychiatrist?
Well, a forensic psychiatrist examines issues with mental illness, and it's really the interface of mental illness and the law. Sometimes that can involve criminality. Most often, forensic psychiatrists are engaged in assessing mental status at the time of an offense or competency. But also forensic psychiatrists can consult to institutions or also treat patients within facilities such as jails and prisons.
So that work that you do as a forensic psychiatrist, is that in addition to working with the behavioral analysis unit at the FBI and working at UVA and teaching, and your work in the Bureau of Prisons?
Yes.
And in terms of your work as a forensic psychiatrist, have you done evaluations and testified on behalf of both prosecution and defense as a forensic psychiatrist?
Yes.
Approximately how many times have you testified in courts as a forensic psychiatrist?
Maybe 40 to 45 times, something like that.
And are you board certified in forensic psychiatry?
No.
And why not?
Well, when I finished my residency, I was interested in public psychiatry. And so I also was in the military. And so military psychiatry and public psychiatry in a teaching hospital was very important to me. As time went on, I was consulted by the FBI. They wanted to meet with me based upon a paper that I had published. And by the time I was more heavily involved in forensic psychiatry and particular assessment of individuals, by that point, the way to be board certified within forensic psychiatry would require a one-year fellowship. And at that point in my life, I just did not have the time to be able to devote to a one-year fellowship in addition to the other things that I was doing.
So instead of the one-year fellowship, did you have more on-the-job training as a forensic psychiatrist?
Yes.
And as a forensic psychiatrist, have you evaluated subjects for things like competency and criminal responsibility?
Yes, I have. And let me just say also, in addition to on-the-job experience, it's important to get teaching and training. And so I've taken advantage of courses within the Institute for Law, Psychiatry, and Public Policy at the University of Virginia, and other opportunities as well in terms of even taking a board review course that was very helpful and quite comprehensive.
So you've had other training other than the fellowship in order to be a forensic psychiatrist?
Yes.
And can you talk a little bit about the work that you've done with inmates?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Can you talk a little bit about the
No,
work
this
that
is
you've done
going
for the Bureau of
smooth.
Prisons with inmates?
Yes. Well, specifically, most of my work has been with the Virginia Department of Corrections rather than the Bureau of Prisons. And since 1992, I guess, maybe 34 years, I have assessed and treated patients within the prison system, both men and women at men and women's facilities. And in that time, I have brought medical students and residents and fellows and taught them. So over the course of my career thus far, I've brought more than 2,500 medical students and residents into the prison system to learn about psychiatry and significant mental illness.
And in the course of your evaluating and treating female inmates, did you have the opportunity to evaluate and treat female inmates who had killed their children?
Yes.
And how often was that would occur, that you would treat that type of patient?
Well, in consulting to a maximum security women's prison, I would say 5 to 7 women who had killed their children.
And in terms of your interactions with them, you said that you evaluated them. Did that involve diagnosing them?
Correct.
And then what did the treatment involve?
Treatment involved working with a team within the system. Prisons have psychologists and social workers and those who are responsible for working with patient inmates. Medication treatment is very important, but also there are important therapeutic aspects. For a number of years, I ran a group in prison as I felt that that was important, and my students felt that that was important as well.
And in terms of the group you ran, what type of group was that?
It was a therapy group in which individuals were brought together, all who were diagnosed with a significant mental illness, and being able to speak about their experience and also how to deal with issues or how they dealt with issues over and above the medications that they were receiving.
And in your experience in the Department of Correction at the Bureau of Prisons, treating these patients, and also in your experience working at the FBI, did you encounter individuals who suffered from psychosis?
Yes, very much so.
And could you estimate how many patients you have treated who suffered from psychosis?
I'm going to object at this point.
No, overall.
Thousands. I spent 15 years running an inpatient admissions unit in a teaching state hospital. And so.
First sidebar.
Sure.
Sidebar.
Hope he's not lying like the others, because he's going to get it from Red.
Yeah. Man, we're not going to see Red's comeback today. I got to wait till tomorrow. Ugh. Why can't we just run all day? Make it easy. Sidebar. Gregory Statham. Some guy for the prosecution.
And like Sarah said, he said he's dealt with prison inmates, not people in the psych units in hospitals.
Gregory Statham, Statham. Something like that.
Now I'm eating because my nerves. I'm just kidding. Kurt's got me 4 pounds of saltwater taffy. Not a good idea.
No, probably not.
Sam's Club.
At least not all 4 pounds at once.
No. Chris and Jonathan are helping me eat it, so this is my first handful today. I haven't had any.
Come on. Yeah, that's the one, Sarah, that we were looking up last night. What is happening here? See, that's why I like to start later. R.I.P. your teeth. That's what I'm saying. That stuff sticks in there. Man, can we just get on with it? Sadov. That's it. That's it. What did I say? Sadum? Yeah, something like that. You're right. That's it, Nikki. Miley Cyrus is Dolly's goddaughter. Yeah. What's happening?
Excuse me. Doctor, you were about to describe a hospital that you had previously worked at, is that correct?
Yes,
And where was that and what type of hospital?
it was a state hospital in Virginia, near Charlottesville, Virginia, where the University of Virginia is. It was a teaching hospital with medical students and residents, and was a facility that dealt with some of the most severely mentally ill individuals who would have been committed to the hospital.
And how long were you at that hospital in that role?
15 years.
And during that time frame, is that when you saw the thousands of patients that you treated with psychosis?
I saw them there, yes, but also within the prison system. And of course, during training, during my residency.
So it's not just at the hospital.
Have you ever written any articles about postpartum psychosis?
Yes.
And when was that?
An article, we published an article in 1987
Are you?
relating to 2 cases
39
of
years
postpartum
ago.
psychosis that I actually saw when I was an intern. One was my patient and one was one that I consulted on.
These
And
are the
that
cases he
article that
worked
you
on.
wrote, was that entitled Postpartum Psychosis Induced by Bromocriptine?
Yes.
What was bromocriptine?
So bromocriptine at that time was a medication that was used to inhibit or to stop lactation. Some women would, after birth, make a decision for whatever reason that they were not able to breastfeed. And so in those days, this medication, bromocriptine, was used to inhibit lactation.
And in your treatment of one patient and what you learned of the second patient, did you come to a conclusion that bromocriptine was having some effect of inducing postpartum psychosis?
Yes.
And is that what you wrote the article about?
Yes.
And eventually, after you wrote this article, were there other studies that cited to your article?
Yes. And let me just emphasize, I was one of 5 authors of that article.
And eventually, was bromocriptine, did people stop using that to stop lactation in women?
Yes. The FDA took it off the market, I believe, in 1994 or 1995. Not just for the reason of postpartum psychosis, but also for other problems, cardiac problems and the rest that bromocriptine sometimes caused in people.
And to your knowledge, was your article with the other co-authors the first article that brought to scientific attention this issue with bromocriptine and postpartum psychosis?
I'm sorry, can you ask that question again?
Sure. To your knowledge, was this article that you wrote with others the first article that brought to scientific attention the possible link between bromocriptine and postpartum psychosis?
That's my understanding. There were a few letters to journals commenting about bromocriptine and a connection, but
So
I
it
think
wasn't your idea.
the first article that was written was ours that we wrote about
Yeah,
the
Lindsay wasn't on
two women
bromocriptine.
who suffered postpartum psychosis.
Now, you've mentioned your experience in diagnosing and treating psychosis. What is psychosis?
Well, psychosis is, it can take a number of forms. I think we most often think about people who are psychotic as having hallucinations. And so we call those perceptual disturbances. That it's oftentimes auditory hallucinations, so people hearing voices or sounds.
Yeah, this is the DA's
But
witness.
they also can be other types of hallucinations as well, not as common in
sunshine.
psychosis, such as visual hallucinations or even what we call tactile hallucinations, where the sense of touch is affected, or olfactory hallucinations. Most commonly, it is auditory hallucinations, though, if we're talking about those perceptual disturbances. Now, there are other areas that psychosis can show itself.
Psychosis is not just hallucinations.
Delusions are fixed false beliefs. They can be bizarre or non-bizarre. And sometimes people who have auditory hallucinations also have delusions. Sometimes you can have psychosis or someone can be psychotic with just a delusion and no perceptual disturbance,
What is
no type of
psychosis
hallucination.
was the question.
And the third area is with regard to thought and how people communicate. So in that
10.5 weeks ago.
part of psychosis, when it demonstrates itself, is that people have a great difficulty communicating with even speech disorganization. They may engage in what we call neologisms, or making up words that have a specific meaning for them, but no one else. And the way that thought is
This is in no way a definition of
translated
psychosis.
either in writing or in speech. Oftentimes, people who are psychotic and also have a difficult time with stringing their words together. So what we would call looseness of associations. So really, there are three arenas that psychosis can show itself. Maybe in all three: the perceptual disturbances,
This
the
is not the
delusions,
definition of psychosis.
but also the thought and
Nope.
related to thought and communication. But it's also
You're working
possible to be
backwards, buddy.
psychotic and have just one of those three elements.
And is psychosis its own mental illness or a symptom of mental illness?
Psychosis is a symptom.
And why is it a symptom of mental illness and not its own defined mental illness?
Well, because there are many different possible causes of psychosis. Someone who has a serious medical problem, for example, can actually become psychotic. A brain tumor is one example in which those symptoms of psychosis show themselves. But there are other ways that people can experience psychosis. Some can be secondary to, say, drug abuse. There's certain drugs like cocaine or amphetamines or bath salts that can cause people to have the kind of perceptual disturbances or delusions or problems with communicating, that I talked about. So really, I think it's just important to know that that it is
No
not
one's
a
asked you to
cause.
split atoms in
It
your
is,
kitchen sink, buddy.
it represents a significant finding or presentation. Schizophrenia is one diagnosis where we will see psychosis in a number of forms, but also someone who has a serious mood disorder or schizoaffective disorder or a brief psychosis. So there are many different roads that can lead to psychosis. And so it's important to find out what's originating, because that's how we make the best decisions about how to treat any psychotic symptoms that we're seeing.
That's not what
And
anybody
doctor,
asked you about. Why can't we
the
just
signs
answer the
and
damn
symptoms of
questions?
psychosis that are present, is that dependent on the underlying cause, the mental illness or whatever is causing the psychosis?
Yes. When you say dependent,
Does it?
it just
Let me see if I can.
is clearly something that is a result
Let's
of
see if I
or a
can control
manifestation of the illness. For example, there are many different things that can cause a fever, right? And so while a fever is a symptom,
that
it's a
help?
presentation that's
Maybe
very
that'll help,
significant and can be very significant. What we need to do in medicine and psychiatry is find out, well, what is the cause? Because that is what's going to lead to the most appropriate treatment.
So for example, an analogy would be a bacterial infection can cause a fever. Bipolar disorder can cause psychosis.
Correct.
Now, you mentioned earlier serious mental illness. What is considered to be a serious mental illness?
Well, serious mental illnesses affect a small portion of the population, a smaller portion, maybe 4%. So people who have schizophrenia have a serious mental illness. People who have bipolar
What
1,
is?
which is
That's not what. That's
manic
not. He's not
depressive
asking the
illness.
question at hand.
That is a serious mental illness.
What do you
Schizoaffective
consider to
disorder is
be a
also
serious mental
a serious
illness?
mental illness. So while many people can have symptoms of mental illness and can benefit from treatment, either psychotherapy or medication or some kind of combination, there are some that are just really, really profound. And that's a much smaller percentage.
And so serious mental illness, is that sometimes shortened to SMI?
Yes.
Now, is there something called any mental illness, AMI?
Yes.
And what would be in that category of any mental illness?
Any mental illness?
Any mental illness would be certainly adjustment disorders or anxiety disorders.
Mental illness?
Mild
OCD,
depression.
ADHD.
Depression without psychotic features, for example. PTSD, which can have significant symptoms, is also something that would go under the category of
psychosis.
Any
also
mental illness.
Any mental illness.
Now, were you asked to do a forensic evaluation of Lindsay Clancy?
Yes.
And you were asked to do that by the Plymouth County District Attorney's Office, correct?
Correct.
And did you receive direct payment from the Plymouth County District Attorney's Office for your evaluation?
No.
How did that payment plan, how did that work between the DA's office and your services?
So I do my work
Not
in
even
testimony and the
12
like
weeks ago,
through the University of Virginia.
This guy
So my
interviewed
department
Lindsay.
is the recipient of any funds that come from the
So
work that I do. I
the
get a
people
salary
that sign your
from the
paycheck
university
are the ones that are
that
getting
is not
paid for your
dependent
testimony.
on the number of
Doesn't
cases
that
that
make
I
it even more
am involved
important
with
that
or whatever. So
Just saying.
I don't receive payment myself. I see it as part of my job as a professor.
And in terms of your work with the university, does the university have any impact or influence on what your evaluation
Yes,
is or what your
because they
conclusions are.
sign your paycheck.
No, not at all.
Hmm. They're getting paid, and you're getting paid.
For your review of Lindsay Clancy, what types of records and other materials did you review?
Well, they were extensive. They involved significant medical records, not just the psychiatric records, outpatient, inpatient, but also medical records. Certainly the hospital records from McLean, the hospital records from Tewksbury, but also emergency department visits at South Shore and Mass General Hospital. So a significant body of medical and mental health records, both inpatient and outpatient. But in addition, there was a substantial amount of grand jury materials that I reviewed, and videos. For example, videos not only of interviews of individuals, but also in January when the Clancy family went to the museum, or they went to the Cape Codder water park, was able to review those kinds of videos as well. I also received the reports from both the government, but also the defense. And so those experts who were retained, I had an opportunity to review those. I mean, the list of materials is very significant. CVS records, for example, pharmacy records, and law enforcement records, for example, the police reports and things like that from that day, 24 January 2023, in which the event occurred.
And doctor, is it typical for you to have such a breadth of records and information, both pre-killing and post-killing, when you do a forensic evaluation?
No, I wouldn't say that's typical. Certainly for any evaluation, it's important to try and obtain as much information as possible. But in this case, I think the amount of information was truly significant.
And you also interviewed the defendant, correct?
Yes, I did.
And how many times did you interview her, and for how long?
I interviewed Ms. Clancy on 2 occasions. One was on the 29th of May of this year, and the other was the 4th of June. I believe on the 29th of May, I interviewed her for approximately 6.5 hours. And then the second time in June 4th, it was about 5 hours.
And were those interviews in person or on Zoom?
They were by way of Zoom.
And why were they by way of Zoom?
For personal reasons, I was unable to travel
So you didn't
at that
even see
time.
her in person.
And so I requested the ability to have an interview by way of a Zoom video platform. And that was approved.
And did you find that doing the interviews by Zoom inhibited your ability to evaluate Ms. Clancy in any way?
Well, I think there are
Yes,
always
be honest.
limitations when one is not physically present, when one is seeing someone in a video setting. Sometimes it takes longer to be able to get information and establish rapport. Other limitations are just having an opportunity to see the environment, that the individual is in. I have done evaluations in the past using a Zoom format. there are certainly advantages to being in person.
Did you, in your interviews with Ms. Clancy, have any difficulties having her answer questions or establishing a rapport with her?
No, she was very pleasant, very
It's a barrier for a rapport through a screen.
responsive
The screen is a
to
barrier
questions
to
that I
get a
asked
personal rapport with somebody.
on both occasions.
Were there any benefits to doing the interviews on Zoom?
No.
Well, one benefit that one doesn't always have with an in-person evaluation is that a platform like this can also save the entire interview, and both video of the interviewer, myself, but also Ms. Clancy. So if someone wants to really understand that the interview and how it went, you not only have a transcript, but you have a video that really demonstrates the course of the interview, how it went. And that can be very helpful. That can be more helpful than if, as a clinician or as an assessor,
You can just video record your interview.
I am writing notes. Because when you're writing notes, sometimes it's harder to be able to attend to the individual. So
Y'all can't make this make sense for me.
certainly being able to have a transcript of the interview is helpful.
Yeah,
And I think
record
it makes the process more transparent as well, which I think is a positive.
As part of your evaluation in this case, did you also interview what's known as collaterals or other people who knew the defendant?
Yes, I did.
Who did you interview?
Well, I interviewed Patrick Clancy, also on a Zoom platform.
And after you had reviewed all of the records that were provided to you and the criminal file and all the evidence that was provided to you and conducted these interviews, both with Ms. Clancy and Patrick Clancy, were you able to conduct an analysis of all of that material in order to come to your eventual conclusions?
Yes.
And if we could just go through your analysis of this case, and if we could start with, I think what you called in your report, Ms. Clancy's characterization of the command auditory hallucinations.
Yes. So Ms. Clancy stated to me and some other evaluators that her hallucination, that of an external voice, something coming from outside of her head, occurred when she was standing at the refrigerator. She said that she was in the process of making her children their dinner when she received a call from Patrick Clancy, returned the call, and then as soon as she finished the call with Patrick Clancy, she said that is when she heard the voice. This is your last chance. You have to kill your kids and then kill yourself. And so that was what she told a number of us. There are also other accounts that she made to individuals that were quite a bit different. To Dr. Spinelli, for example, she said that the voice happened at 5:10 or 5:15 p.m. as soon as Patrick Clancy left on his errands, and that the voice. She described the voice to Dr. Spinelli as increasing in intensity, but saying, "This is your last chance. You have to kill your kids before you kill yourself." But also that it was that her children would suffer if she did not do that.
Wait, what?
When I asked her about the voice that she heard, again, she said that it started really right after the telephone call at 5:34 with her husband, Patrick. And she said it was a man's voice. It was very clear. It was external. In other words, it came from outside of her head. That it was constant. So this phrase, "This is your last chance. You have to kill your kids and then kill yourself," was something that was repeated over and over and over and over again during that period that she strangled her children. And then just as soon as it started, it stopped at when she had finished killing the children, strangling the children.
At the point of strangling the
Doctor,
children or
was
jumping
there
out the window?
anything about what she reported to you about the voice that was significant to you in your evaluation? And if so, why? What was significant to me is that she had not spoken about hearing voices before that in any of the mental health professionals, the psychiatrists, the nurse practitioners, the physicians and staff in the emergency departments or at McLean. And so this was the first time that she reported that was documented, but also that she experienced an auditory hallucination, according to what she told me.
Every time has
So
a
that
first
was
time.
that was unusual. And then also, what was very unusual was the fact that the voice stopped with the death or the strangling of her youngest son, Callan, and that
He's not sure if he just caught himself in a lie or
she
not.
went upstairs.
That's
and
exactly
then
what just happened. He just caught himself.
Engage in behavior in an effort to kill herself, but that the voice had stopped as soon as she had strangled her last Callan, her youngest child.
I could stop you there for a moment and ask you, you said that it's unusual that this was the first time that she had heard this voice. Why is that unusual?
Because it's actually not.
Well, she had certainly suffered with symptoms of mental illness, depression and anxiety, most specifically. Anxiety that she had reported to Dr. Tufts in mid-September. And then certainly the symptoms that later on included suicidal ideation and also
So in other words, they
what she said were
escalated
dark or intrusive thoughts
to a point
to
of
harm her
severe
children
when the
that
voices
she
started.
mentioned to her her husband and her mother on, I think, 2 occasions.
And Doctor,
Thank you, Sarah.
you also mentioned that it was unusual that the voice stopped after Callan was killed. Why is that unusual?
Well, I've worked with, compared to other patients that I've treated
Can you
who
compare
have
psychosis?
had command auditory hallucinations.
I'm going to object to that. You want same objection?
Me too, Red.
Counselor Garcia,
You can't say that every episode of psychosis and hallucinations and delusions are unique, but then say compared to the rest of them.
Right. They're each their own. And, you know, I can guarantee other things were done. Other people have done things when they've heard voices just right then and there because it's not the norm. It's not like they're, I don't know.
Did you guys see his pause? Thank you, Just a Mom. Did you guys see his pause? He caught himself doing something wrong. There was like a moment of panic there. Did you guys see that? He didn't just pause, he almost panicked. Like, shit, what do I do now? What am I supposed to say? I don't know if it was can I take it back? But that was a moment of panic because his whole face, and we'll go back, we'll look at that part because that part was really telling to me. He caught himself saying something or doing something that he almost like his facial expression changed to pure panic almost. Like, crap. And he didn't know what to do. He froze.
Yeah, I'm cracking open my Alani, which is brew for this testimony because this is he can't remember anything. He has no notes either. Like
Yeah.
it's just like he's
No,
pulling
he did.
things
He
out of a
brought in
hat.
notes. He
Well,
brought
he
in
ain't.
notes. He's just not reading them.
Yeah, well, he should.
But he
mean,
doesn't have to because she's leading it very well. A
true.
little too well.
Adam, he just said he realized Patrick did it.
Man, don't start, Adam. But he did. He panicked. That his stop and pause for such a long time where he just was lost in thought and couldn't bring it back really was really telling to me. It really made me question his honesty to be.
Doctor, based on your training and experience in dealing with diagnosing and treating people who have psychosis, and what you've learned in all your training and schooling, is it typical for someone in psychosis to hear a voice only one time, never before, never after?
No.
Yes, because
And
psychosis starts
again, based on
somewhere.
your training experience, is it typical for someone in psychosis to hear a voice that's constant rather than intermittent?
No, that is not typical.
And what does it mean, the difference between a constant voice and an intermittent voice?
Well, an intermittent voice would come and go. It wouldn't necessarily just keep playing over and over again as if it were on a tape, which Ms. Clancy told me that it was a voice. It's the same thing in the same tone, repeated over and over and over until she had strangled Callan.
And is it typical, based on your training and experience, for someone to hear command hallucinations and then for them to stop abruptly?
Yes.
No.
Don't lie.
Committing the act is not curative of the voice. I've not ever seen that.
And Doctor, based on your training experience, someone in psychosis hearing a voice without accompanying delusions, is that typical?
Don't lie.
That would be pretty rare. It's absolutely not typical.
And in talking to Ms. Clancy, did you speak to her about the concerns she had that if she had voiced thoughts of harming her children to providers, medical providers, that her children would have been taken away?
Yes.
And did you see that as a delusional thought?
No, it's
No.
a common thought. Don't lie.
Certainly with
Put a one in the chat if you would think it if you were a woman, because I know I
healthcare
would.
professionals have to report any issues that could cause harm to children, for example. As required reporters, it's very rational for her to be concerned that by voicing her thoughts of harm could cause her children, certainly an assessment and a rapid assessment and a determination
A
about
rapid
how
assessment
best
of
to
what are you
keep
talking about now?
the
You're
children
rambling.
safe. So
Answer the question.
I didn't see that as irrational, but rather rational, just understanding the healthcare system.
And when reviewing the records and speaking to Ms. Clancy, did you see or notice any delusional statements or beliefs surrounding the hearing of that voice on the 24th?
No, I didn't.
Now, based on your training experience, is it typical for someone in psychosis to hear a voice and immediately act on it?
No.
And why is that?
I'd like to have a Dovere hearing at this point, Judge, on this. I'd like to test his qualifications to
I'm
this.
gonna, same objection, same ruling.
So your opinion is it's not typical, correct?
Correct.
He knows Red's coming.
There needs to be like music
Now,
for
you
when he comes
mentioned
up.
the defendant told you
Yeah.
that when she received the call from her husband at 5:33 and called him back at 5:34, that she was getting dinner ready for her children, correct?
Yes.
And did she tell you what she was about to get out of the refrigerator?
Yes. She said she was at the refrigerator and that the refrigerator door was open and that she was getting chicken nuggets out of the refrigerator section for her children.
Now, in your collateral interview with Patrick Clancy, did you learn from him that when he left the residence, the children were already eating chicken nuggets on the couch?
Yes.
And did Patrick Clancy tell you that Dawson in particular was eating chicken nuggets and green beans out of a bowl on the couch?
One child.
Yes,
Did
that's
the
what he
other
told me.
child have food?
And is it fair to say that there are crime scene photographs showing a bowl on the couch?
A bowl.
Yes.
And so is there any significance to you in the defendant telling you that when she got the phone call from Patrick, when he's at CVS, that she's making chicken nuggets versus Patrick and telling you that that had already happened and the crime scene photos showing you the bowl was already on the couch?
Well, it's inconsistent.
And are inconsistencies like that important in your evaluations in cases like this?
Yes.
And how so?
Well,
Go ahead,
looking
buddy.
at someone's mental status at the time of an offense, it's important to understand what was going on in their mind at the time. And in this case, the widely divergent reports from Lindsay Clancy versus her husband Patrick raise questions about what she is telling me and how things are happening. So certainly that's a cause for significant concern. One of them is not correct in their statement.
And in terms of what you testified about earlier about the defendant giving you one version of what the voice told her and giving Dr. Spinelli a different version of what the voice told her, is there any significance in your evaluation to that?
Yes.
And what is that?
Well, again, it's markedly inconsistent. Ms. Clancy was very clear with me about the time that the voice started and that it was constant for a period of time until the children were killed, and then it stopped. And according to Dr. Spinelli's report, Ms. Clancy stated that the voice started much, much earlier, actually, when Patrick Clancy left. And so we're talking about a significant difference in time. And those two just
so when you asked her 2 months
they don't
ago,
match.
and what
So
she stated
hard
at the
to
time was slightly different.
which version is the one that
Oh, definitely yours 2 months ago, Doc.
I should consider.
Now, further along in your analysis, you talk about Ms. Clancy's outward portrayals misleading her family and providers. What do you mean by that, and what did you see in the records and in your interview of her?
Yes. Well, in looking back at her history, for example, with Patrick, she dated Patrick when she was in nursing school. And that was at a time that she was experiencing fairly significant anxiety, according to her, such that she went to a psychiatrist and was treated for her anxiety with Prozac and Wellbutrin, and also propranolol. And this was for a fairly significant period of time during their dating, approximately a year.
Could it have been because of nursing
and-
school, not the dating?
when I spoke with Mr. Clancy, and also in other testimony and collateral information, he was completely unaware that she was experiencing mental health symptoms at that time that they were dating, or that she was taking medication. And he said he did not learn that she had taken medication, mental health medication, Prozac, Wellbutrin. Those are both antidepressants, as well as propranolol, which helps with anxiety, particularly with the kind of presentations that she was doing. But he was unaware until during this time that she was having, great difficulty, November, December time period.
And that's of 2022?
Yes. But there are other aspects too, where her portrayal misled others in terms of how she was doing.
Is
Can you
that
give us an example of
misleading,
that?
or is that just not? I mean, my husband
Yes.
doesn't know everything
Well,
I did when we were
in the
dating.
numerous text messages, which really varied, there were times when she stated that she was doing very well. And for example, even in the days leading up to the 24th of January 2023, the photographs that she was sending on Instagram and the like really portrayed something very different than what she later stated was going on inside. With regard to providers, Ms. Clancy told me that during this period that she was having such difficulty, and that was really starting in October. She started taking medication in October. Ms. Clancy told me that she was having real difficulty
What was
with
that?
some symptoms and anxiety and the like.
I thought it was you.
No, my mic was off.
Was somebody
Her-
laugh?
mother-in-law suggested to her that there was a doctor that she knew named Rose who was willing to talk with her just on an informal basis.
Listen, Linda.
And so as I
someone
understand,
needs to fix this
this
guy.
doctor
He's
made
glitching.
time for
someone plug
to
him in
be
again.
seen,
Pull the plug out and replug
not
him
in
in.
an
He's
official
glitching.
way, not as in a doctor-patient relationship, but just to
I want to go back and hear that sound because it
get an
sounded
understanding
like, oh, shit.
about Ms. Clancy's problems, and that this doctor recommended Lamictal or lamotrigine as a medication that could be very helpful, with regard to
This isn't
depression she
answering
was
the question.
experiencing, the issues with mood and the like. And so
Adventures don't make me
in
laugh,
looking
my friend.
at Dr. Tuff's notes, there is a note, I believe, on December 1st of 2022, in which they discuss Lamictal as a real possible medication. And then by mid-December, it was really a very, very difficult time. The whole month of December, in many ways, was very difficult.
Isn't the holiday
but
season
after
when most people have
this,
breaks? I'm just saying.
Experience.
Yeah, if we could have a question.
So you've talked about the defendant seeing the provider named Rose and getting the recommendation for Lamictal.
Thank you, Shorty.
The defendant talking to Dr. Tufts about the Lamictal. Was there another provider that she talked to about Lamictal?
Yes,
And who was that?
that was nurse practitioner Gelada.
And eventually was Lamictal prescribed by one of these providers?
Well, really by both. And when you say talking,
What
it
is
was
that
a-
noise that he's
a
making?
written communication and not a verbal one.
And so could you tell from the records whether or not Ms. Clancy filled the prescription for Lamictal?
Yes.
What is Lamictal?
Lamotrigine is actually Lamictal is an anticonvulsant
Oh,
that was
jeez.
approved for bipolar disorder back in the early 2000s, I think 2003, for bipolar disorder. Now it's used for epilepsy, but also been found by the FDA to be extremely helpful in
100%
depression related to bipolar disorder.
And after receiving the 3 recommendations to try Lamictal and the prescription from Dr. Tufts, which she filled, did the defendant tell you whether or not she took the Lamictal?
She told me that she had decided not to take the Lamictal because she was concerned about the potential for a rash, a serious rash.
And the fact that 3 providers recommended this medication to help her and the defendant chose not to take it because of the potential of this rash, was that significant to you in any way in your evaluation?
Yes.
And how so?
Well, Dr. Tufts had written a prescription and it had been filled. Actually, Nurse Gelada also wrote a prescription for the Lamictal, and Ms. Clancy told her, well, you can cancel that because I already have a prescription of Lamictal from Dr. Tufts. What was concerning was that I don't
I also
see
want
evidence
to
that
say,
Dr. Tufts was notified that she had decided against the Lamictal. And so that would have given a provider an opportunity to think about something else that also could help in this domain. But yet Ms. Clancy had decided not to take it, but also not to tell the doctor that she had decided not to take it.
Well, doctor, was there also something that you noticed in the way she described, Ms. Clancy described to you, how she was feeling at McLean Hospital when she was there versus the description of her feelings in the McLean records?
Yes.
And what was the difference between the two, and how was it significant in your evaluation?
I recall that she told me that she felt like a zombie. Very, very significantly affected. And certainly, while the records at McLean demonstrate that she was not doing well, there were differences in terms of how she characterized that.
And when a patient is characterizing how she felt at a certain time in different ways, one to you and a different way to her actual provider at the time, is that concerning in any way?
Well, yes.
And why is that?
Well, the more candid a patient can be with the symptoms that they're experiencing, the better able the prescriber is to make a determination about how best to treat those symptoms. And also it can be very helpful in diagnosis as well.
And did you also take note of the appointment Dr. Tufts had with the defendant on January 23rd, 2023 in the records, and the fact that the defendant denied experiencing suicidal or homicidal ideation in that meeting?
Yes.
And how was that significant, if it was?
Well, Ms. Clancy had been looking into alternative treatments and had discussed with Dr. Tufts earlier the potential for esketamine. This is an FDA-approved medication that has to be administered by a doctor within a facility, but it can have rapid positive effects in treating depression. And so in that note, Dr. Tufts wrote that the potential for esketamine treatment or transcranial magnetic stimulation were ones that they were exploring.
Now, Doctor, did you discuss with Ms. Clancy, or did she describe to you in any detail her ability to suppress her feelings and kind of mold her behavior into what she wanted people to see?
Yes.
And what did she tell you about that?
Well, I believe it was a Christmas time with her family, a morning breakfast, in which she stated she was not feeling well, not doing well, but yet felt the need to act like she was cooking and helping her husband cook. And she questioned why she would do that or engage in that behavior when her family knew that she was struggling and having difficulty. So she used the word fake with regard to just how she was attempting to present to her family. So this was on reflection in talking to me about that behavior at that time.
And did she also tell you about an incident at Spalding Hospital when she was interacting with a friend of hers who was visiting there after she went to Spalding Hospital for rehabilitation?
Yes.
And what did she tell you about that?
She told me that this friend who visited was a longtime friend from when they were both really quite young. And that when this friend visited, Ms. Clancy engaged in, trying to remember how she characterized it, gossip, really talking about kind of the old times and catching up basically on news that this friend, I believe her name was Amy Bevins. They had similar or shared experiences.
That's true, Murphy.
And so Ms. Clancy told me she was upset at Spalding Hospital because this superficial conversation that she had without discussion of the incident of 24 January 2023, that gave an impression, maybe a false impression of Ms. Clancy, and that it hurt the friendship as a result. And she felt that Spalding Hospital had they provided better psychiatric care, better mental health care, she would not have been so superficial in talking with her friend.
Did she also express anger to you that the staff at Spalding had prioritized her spinal cord injury needs over her mental health needs?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Did Ms. Clancy tell you or express anger to you that the staff at Spalding Hospital had prioritized her spinal cord injury needs over her mental health needs?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to put into evidence excerpts from the Spalding records showing the mental health consults and treatment of Ms. Clancy.
They may be admitted.
And so, doctor, did you have an opportunity to review the Spalding records?
Yes.
And did you see in the Spalding records that not only a psychiatrist, but also a psychologist and a social worker met with Ms. Clancy while she was at Spalding multiple times?
Yes.
And is there anything about the inconsistency of Ms. Clancy telling you that she didn't receive that treatment or that focus at Spalding versus the record, what the records show that are significant in your evaluation of her?
Well, it's inconsistent and doesn't match up with that collateral information. So her depiction of the lack of mental health care at Spalding didn't match up with the evidence from Spalding in terms of the documents. Spalding is a rehab hospital, and that is they were really concentrated on the spinal injury, but also did have mental health services available.
And doctor, moving along in your analysis, did you look into and evaluate the defendant's decision to send Patrick Clancy on errands on January 24th, 2023?
Yes.
And what stood out to you as significant in what you learned from the records and from Ms. Clancy herself in that area?
I asked Ms. Clancy to tell me about that that afternoon, and specifically that decision for takeout. And as I recall, she told me that she texted her husband Patrick basically to say what would you think about having takeout? It's been a long day, and a fairly broad, open-ended
Is he having auditory hallucinations?
request, and that he responded positively. And from then, she made the arrangements to look up the distance between their home, and 3V restaurant in Plymouth, but also looking at, basically making plans to have the food ordered. And she had texted her husband ultimately and asked him about, to tell her
This
what
guy
order
really worked?
to make. And so in looking at the record, it was really reversed.
Is he okay?
Instead of starting with asking her husband, what would you think about takeout? How about getting takeout? The record shows that
Is he seeing things?
Ms.
Like, I'm
Clancy
concerned at this point with this guy with the glitching. I'm concerned.
did a lot of searching prior to that in terms of 3V, the distance, and the like. So there were a number, getting information prior to requesting a text, sending a text to her husband. And in the text, rather than saying, what would you think about takeout, getting takeout, she said, how about getting takeout at 3V? I am, it's been a long day, etc. And so this reversal in terms of what she told me and what actually we see in the collateral, I thought was significant.
How so?
Well, she told me that the only restaurant that she could think of, could remember about getting takeout was 3V. And Patrick told me that they had never gotten takeout from 3V. He named West End Grill and Chestnut Grill as places that were in Duxbury and close by that they liked and that they often got takeout from. They had been to 3V and they liked it. They had gone as a family, but they had never gotten takeout there, takeout from 3V. And so presenting not just the idea of takeout, but how about 3V? And she had already done lots of checking about distance and the like. I thought was inconsistent.
With what?
What I saw from the record was not
inconsistent with
what
what?
she told me in terms of the order in which she made those decisions, and so I saw that as being significant.
And was there a similar scenario with the request of Patrick from the defendant to also go to CVS?
Yes.
And so what was the difference between what she told you about the plan to go to CVS and or what she told Patrick and what she had done in terms of research?
Well, the research for, I think it was Miralax, which was suggested for Cora's constipation.
Guys,
They had an appointment that morning in pediatrics, and this was suggested that the
20 minutes, he
Miralax
said
and
5 words.
CVS was something that Ms. Clancy looked into sometime after 4 o'clock, but not long after 4 o'clock, and well before she contacted her husband. But that she did not communicate to her husband the importance of picking up Miralax at CVS, who she had called, until really right before he left. So he had planned on going to 3V, driving to 3V, almost 6 miles, to get the takeout. And then she also added on that other errand right before he left.
And so was it significant to you that she had researched the the Miralax and looked into CVS an hour before, but just added that, that part of the errand on right before her husband left?
Why wouldn't she
And why?
add it on? Why wouldn't she?
Well,
Why would she make the guy go out twice?
It lengthened the trip. It added one extra obligation for Patrick, and that would make for a longer time that he was away.
And moving along in your analysis, you discuss Ms. Clancy's suicide attempt, and you say that it was serious, but required sequential decision-making. Is that correct?
Can you just repeat that? I'm sorry.
Sure. In your report, you describe Ms. Clancy's suicide attempt as serious, correct?
Correct.
And you also state that it required sequential decision-making. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about why you found that it was serious and how you found that it required that sequential decision-making?
Well, I think in looking over
I
her
do,
records,
Murphy. I think that she was triggered
previous
when he
to
left. I
that
think if
day,
he didn't leave.
24 January, she had contacted Aspire twice, the suicide hotline, and spoken to them. And really, as I recall, since early December, had been speaking about suicidal ideation. So this was something that that was significant for her. There was, of course, an assessment that in the emergency department that on the 15th of December. So you look through the record and that you do see that she was concerned about self-harm and suicidal ideation. If we look at the actual day after the children were killed, or after the children were strangled, Callan was.
I'm going to pause this, guys, because I just want to address Murphy's question in the chat. The original question was, she said, Ivory, respectfully, do you feel like there was anything Lindsay could have done at any point to change the course of action? Not during the time once the husband left. I don't think so. I don't believe so, because I think the psychosis happened, and I think her husband leaving was a trigger for her. I do believe once he left that it was inevitable. I do think that, and again, it doesn't mean it definitely was a trigger. I just see it as a trigger. It could have happened, and let's be real, if he was home and he didn't go to one of the stores, we don't know if he'd be dead too, right? So I think that once the psychosis happened, what was going to happen was inevitable. Yes. I don't think that anything was going to be able to stop that, because psychosis, like the voices and stuff, continue even when somebody else is there. Sorry, guys.
Was still living at the time that EMS arrived. She told me that she
Is
got
he
a
okay?
knife from the butcher block in the kitchen, and then went upstairs and attempted to cut herself. That she also took pills or took an overdose. And I asked her about that, really trying to understand.
Objective as to what he was trying to understand. No, overall.
Really to try and understand how she accomplished the overdose. Because if you're swallowing lots and lots of pills, that can be difficult. And so how many times, how many handfuls of pills did you take or whatever? And then
did he not read the records?
she told me that she had slashed the screen and dove out the window.
Doctor, if I could ask you a question. In terms of taking the pills, What did Ms. Clancy tell you about how she took the pills?
Yeah,
sorry.
because you're
What did
leading
Ms.
him because
Clancy
he
tell
just
you about how
lied.
she took the pills?
He was just wrong, and now you're trying to change it. Because you
It
know,
wasn't really very,
lady,
very
that
clear. I was,
he just made a mistake.
Requesting what she said is the question.
Do you recall what she said?
I'm sorry.
Do you recall what she said about taking the pills, whether she took handfuls or did something else?
Oh, she
Oh,
did not
see, that was
say
leading.
that she took
That was
handfuls.
leading. You just told him she crushed
She
it.
did not describe.
Come on, guys. He did
the
object.
overdose.
Come on. He
in any
just
specific
lied,
terms.
and she
Did
just
she
made
tell
him
you anything about
specify.
crushing up pills?
Objection, leading question.
Come on.
It's already been answered. Next question.
Did she give you any other information about taking the pills?
No.
You just became. Oh, guys,
Now,
come on.
if you could tell us that portion that I asked you about earlier, what is sequential decision making, and how did you see that in her behavior?
Leading, and I'm not a lawyer,
Well-
but leading. Come on, you're literally telling him to change his story.
As I mentioned, she
He don't
After-
know.
strangling the 3 children
Come on, guys.
with the exercise bands.
Come on.
Went up the steps.
Y'all are
went to
seeing
the
this, right?
kitchen. She got a knife and then ascended yet another group of steps to her bedroom, to their bedroom. And
Come on, he don't know. He don't remember the script.
described the attempt or cutting her wrists as well as her neck. And also described the overdose in barely, it was just hard for me to get a good idea about
Come on, you're
how
lying.
specifically
He's
the
lying,
overdose
guys.
heard what she did. But she omitted
Hey.
some things that
How do you know
I
what she
thought were
admitted if she didn't tell you
significant.
and you don't know about it?
And what things did she omit that you think were significant?
well, she omitted the fact that she had actually crushed the pills.
You just
And
come
I
on,
found that
guys.
to be, quite significant.
That's a lie.
And how did you learn that she had crushed the pills?
I learned after
Just now when you said it,
interviewing,
lady.
her husband Patrick, and he went through that evening and talked about coming
You're
to
lying.
the
He's
home
lying.
and the like, and mentioned that on the bedside table there was a wine tumbler with powdered medication, crushed up medication, that there was still some in the wine tumbler. And I had not,
He was just caught. Come on,
heard-
guys.
I mean, she had not told me that she had actually crushed medication. And I
You just
know that in
remember
Dr.
because she
Resnick's
led you there.
report, and also in what Lindsay Clancy told me, that she had lemonade in that wine tumbler when she took the
You're
overdose.
lying.
And when I asked,
You just said she
Patrick
said she
Clancy, he
swallowed
told me that they
handfuls of
did not
pills and you don't know how
have-
many.
he didn't think they had any lemonade in the house, that was not typical at all.
And doctor, what is the significance?
Finish, please.
I'm sorry, were you not
done with that?
finished?
You done with it? Hold on. You
Yes.
done with that answer? All right, next question.
And so, doctor, what is the significance to you, if anything, of this atypical use of lemonade and the crushed powder in the cup?
Check yourself because you may
You
be
say
wrong.
what is atypical?
I think you just
It's
said
not
that
atypical.
Patrick Clancy said it wasn't typical to have lemonade, correct?
Correct.
So is there any significance to you to the fact that there was lemonade in the cup and that there was powder residue in the cup?
No, because lemonade is not
Or
grapefruit
that,
juice.
was there any
It
significance
does not.
to the fact that Lindsay Clancy told you that there was lemonade in the cup and that Patrick Clancy saw
He
powdered
he
residue
just
in the
said
cup?
that Lindsay didn't tell him that.
Yes, I mean, it made sense that lemonade would be in the cup if you're trying to take an overdose of medication that you've crushed, just because of the bitterness that these pills have. So that made sense. I asked her more about the lemonade, and she told me that it had been in the wine tumbler from the night before.
He didn't remember what you told him to say,
And in
baby.
terms of the decision-making process, like what types of decisions is she making? Are you referring to, what to take and how to take it and when to take it and when to cut herself, those types of decisions?
No, it was obviously scatterbrained.
um,
I'm getting mad, y'all. I'm trying to jump through the screen.
Crushing pills is really a challenge if you don't have the right equipment, if you don't have like a mortar and a pestle that they might have in a pharmacy. And so
Do not
what
that
I
computer.
wondered about was that process of crushing the pills to the point that they were powder in order then to put them in lemonade and then drink them. And so that is, to crush pills, significant number of pills into fine powder is not an easy thing to do, particularly if you don't have the right equipment.
You can take a cup and go.
It's just kind of a laborious
Are we
process.
for real right now? How difficult is it
so-
really,
He
buddy?
needs spoons, two
She
spoons.
also did not. It was Patrick Clancy who told me about the door being locked, and she told me she did not
That's not.
recall locking the door.
And
Your
in
witness
terms of
just shit on you.
Miss Clancy's ability to execute the strangulation of her children, is there anything about how she did it, what she did
I have my
that stood
Tylenol
out
here?
to
Because
you
I'll crush
in
it
your
really quick.
evaluation?
Yes.
And what is that?
Ms.
He
Clancy
forgot his
told me
lines.
that she, after the phone call with her husband, she returned the call, that was when she took Dawson down the steps into her husband's office to strangle him. And I asked Ms. Clancy about...
So she went down, up, down, up, down,
what she
up, and her
remembered
watch
about
never registered that.
how
Bull
she-
crap.
what she said
You're
to
lying.
Dawson to get him to go down the steps and leave, his sister and brother upstairs. And was there resistance, verbalization, et cetera, crying? And she said she could not recall that. She could only recall bringing him down the steps and then strangling him. And then she repeated that the next child was Cora, that she went back upstairs.
So not criminally responsible,
and
just
did
went
not
back
recall
up. All right.
how she got Cora down the steps, how Cora came down the steps, but then brought her into a different area, kind of a living room area in the basement, and strangled Cora. And then lastly, that she went up to get Callan. And I asked her, I said, where was Callan? Upstairs. And she said, well, maybe in a playpen, often, she said she couldn't really remember, but then bringing Callan down.
This
And,
is crap, guys. This
he was
is
the last child to be strangled, all during this time where this voice is over and over again saying, this is your last chance. You have to kill the children before you kill yourself.
Doctor, is there any significance to the fact that this voice is telling her to kill the children but not telling her how to kill the children.
Voices
Yes.
don't
And what is
usually
that?
tell them how.
He's got to think of how
Just
he
like
can make
adult
this up.
children have a will to survive, strong will to survive. I think it's just part of being human.
Oh, come on, man.
And so
Come on.
I know that Dr. Resnick described Ms. Clancy as acting as if she were a puppet. But the children are not puppets. And just
What?
in looking
Lindsay, what are you
at
talking about?
the
What
Cape
is he
Codder
talking about?
video where Ms. Clancy is holding Callan and Dawson and Cora are there. I mean, they both are active. They can walk, they can run. And so to make the determination about
I'm going to object to this.
I object, Your Honor.
All right, can I see counsel at sidebar?
I think this guy's having a mental health crisis right on the stand in front of the jury. This guy has no idea what he's talking about. He just made half that story up because she wasn't leading him. I mean, it was obvious she had to tell him. And then all of a sudden, no, that's right. I remember, I had too much freaking rum last night, too much gin, and I don't remember. But now I remember because you didn't fucking remember because you didn't say it.
And for him to bring in notes but not go off of them, like, those are
Right?
important questions.
Well, what'd she do to the pills? She said she took handfuls and handfuls of pills. She told everybody else she crushed them, man. But she told you she took handfuls and handfuls, and you just couldn't for the life of you understand how she could have taken so many handfuls of pills. And it wasn't until the freaking prosecution, Bo bitch, sat there and led you there. Did you all of a sudden have this epiphany that, oh, that's right, Patrick told me that she crushed him. That's right. That's right. Are we for real right now? I can't. Listen, I'm gonna mute. This is I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say right now. We guys, come on. I don't care if you're on Team Lindsay, Team Patrick, if you're on team, I don't give a crap what team you're on. You guys had to have blatantly saw that lie happen. You guys have to admit that this guy's freaking lying. I don't care about any other witnesses or what you think or what you believe or whose side you're on. You have to admit that that guy was obviously blatantly lying about all of it. Like all of it. Like, that is one thing that we're all going to come together today and admit that that guy was a piece of crap. And even worse than Mac, this guy was just randomly making up the stories. I wasn't sure if he was having visions of his own. Like, were you sitting there hallucinating on your own? Like, you don't even know. Like, you don't even know. Like, this guy was that much worse than Mac, in my opinion. This guy just blatantly lied. And then you had to sit there and take his little hand and bring him to the crushed pills where it's like, whoa, that's right. Shit, I forgot my lines. Like, come on, man. This is crap. This is crap. I don't care whose side you on, if you think she's criminally responsible or not. This Commonwealth is pulling some crap.
It's probable that we will be doing closing arguments, not tomorrow, but the day after. All right? So the anticipation is the evidence will wrap up, finish tomorrow, and then we'll start arguments and charge the next day with deliberations that day. All right? So I just kind of want to give you as much heads up as I can. This is one, well, I don't even want to go where I think about this prediction, but I think it's a good one. So I just kind of wanted to give you some idea of where we are in regards to this. So I'm going to excuse you till tomorrow morning. You've heard a lot of evidence, but you haven't heard all of it. All right. And like I've said before, you haven't heard the closing arguments of the attorneys. You haven't heard the law that you're going to have to apply to this. So you still have to keep an open mind. You still have to follow those instructions. Don't read anything about this. Don't listen to anything about this. Don't watch anything about this. And don't talk about it with anyone. You've been so good at following those instructions for all these weeks. I'm just going to ask you to kind of hang with those instructions a little bit longer. And so with that, I'm going to excuse you till tomorrow morning.
That
We will
lie is the
continue,
last thing that
with
they
the
heard.
witnesses on the stand. And like I said, I anticipate that we will, the close of evidence will be tomorrow. Okay? So with all my thanks, as I've done it all the time, thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Okay?
Court, all right.
This is some crap.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
He said, I don't know. I don't remember. I was wondering how she took so many handfuls of pills with such an overdose. Did she really, though? I don't care whose witness that was. That guy was definitely lying. It doesn't matter. That's wild.
Jurors, back to the courtroom. This court's in session. Please be seated.
Anything that we need to address before tomorrow morning?
Yeah, the liar in the
All right, Mr.
room.
Reddington?
No, thank you.
All right. Thank you, counsel. Thank you, everyone. We'll be in recess until tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
Court, all rise.
I don't even know what to say, guys.
Over it.
I don't even, I mean, come on, man. Come on. Is there anybody here right now who believes that man was telling the truth? Like, come on. Come on. That was just the most insane thing that I ever heard. I mean, the guy was glitching, like literally. At one point, I thought I heard him say shit. You don't think he was lying? Really? You guys think that what he said was true? That's wild. That's wild. That's crazy, Adventures. You think that man was telling the truth? I mean, he literally told a story that we've never heard before and had to have his hand walked back to the crushing of the pills. Like, that's wild to me. I can't believe you guys thought that was an honest testimony.
Adventures don't believe
you
him. She
don't
said, I
believe him.
don't.
Oh, you don't believe him. I was like, oh, man.
Prudy,
Oh,
I don't
that
think
guy was
Prudy
lying.
believes him either.
No, yeah,
I think
yeah.
she was saying, I don't.
That's just why. I mean, that guy, listen, I'm going to have a field day later with this one. I don't even know what to say. I mean, you have to put him on 55 speed, though, to even get a video out of this guy's testimony because he was talking backwards. He was talking so slow, he was talking backwards. Yeah. And he looked like he was like having hallucinations all on his own. Like, what were you staring at off in yonder, buddy? Like, what were you waiting for the good Lord to come down and tell you what to say? Like, what was happening? I'm so mad. That was so wild. And I can't believe crap like, listen, that's why I'm not a lawyer, because this mouth, I'd be in contempt every 5 minutes. Man, that was wild.
I just want to say again, I said it earlier. Thank you for the Cash App and the support. It's never expected, but I appreciate it.
Yes, guys, thank you so much. Let me go. Rebecca, Robin, Sarah, Just a Mom. Thank you guys, Shorty Pie. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, man, this is like, what do y'all think?
I think that the jury is going to find her not guilty because I don't think the defense is really bringing anything to the table that is proving she didn't have psychosis. It's people that are 50, 40 years ago did a study. It's not relevant to
I was
now.
two when he worked with those. How many patients? 5? I think there were 5 people because he made it seem like he was some group. It was
It
5.
was 5, yeah.
5 people. How old am I? 44 years ago? Oh, well, the experts are just pouring in now. Like, come on. That's what I'm
Oh
saying,
no,
Claire. I don't even know.
that was in 1987, the year I was born, the 5 experts, but still that was 39 years ago.
That was long.
Almost
I
40.
mean, do you know how much medicine has changed in the last 40 years? Mental, psychiatry, psychology, all of that in the last 40 years. Shoot, in the last 4 years, it's dramatically changed. 40 years? I mean, were they still giving lobotomies back then? I think so. Wild. Shock treatments and crap. Like, I can't. Mm-mm. That's wild. I am so aggravated right now, y'all. I can't even. I can't even. I don't even know what to say. The fact that this guy was just lying, and the judge saw it. The judge was like, what is happening? Like, we're just gonna let him lie? Well, did she say, was there another way other than drinking the pills and swallowing the pills whole? Like, did she tell you, what did she tell you about that? Like, you literally were giving him his testimony. That's wild. Absolutely wild.
Did you hear how he almost said, and then she said to go to God, but he stopped himself from saying that?
Yeah. Because the judge would have had, the judge would have been like, I just give up. The judge would have rage quit at that point, I think. And then to sit there and act like you're not getting paid. However, you are getting paid. The place you work for is getting paid. And you will get a bonus, right? And you are, in fact, getting paid via the person who's accepting the payment from your testimony. So you are getting paid. Don't sit there and act like this was a freebie and pro bono because you're this expert and you just decided to come on here and had to speak because you weren't getting paid, because you were getting paid. In fact, yours is probably more crucial than everybody else's pay because your boss is getting paid. So your boss is getting paid for the testimony that you provide and the stuff that you're giving, right? So do it right, because the more you testify, the more your boss gets paid. So it's probably more important for him than it is for the other people who are just directly getting paid. Mm-mm. Man, I'm just so I'm curious. I want to know. Let me check X because I want to know what the jury was doing. Is Purdy in here? I know she checks X to see what the jury's doing. Let me see.
Hold on. Um, Messy Bessie wants to know what was his name, the witness.
This witness is the prosecution's witness. His name was Gregory Sadoff. I don't even know how to say it. Who was another one who worked on a pregnant woman 45 years ago. I'm just trying to see what the They're not saying anything on the reaction of the jury. He's trying to stretch the payment with the slow sloth. Yeah, you're not lying. You're not lying.
Is he a psychiatrist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is a psychiatrist. Straight off. Yeah, he's a psychiatrist who now currently works with, I don't know what he does. I don't even think he knows what he does. Somebody needs to check him. He needs a mini mental status exam. He needs a mental status exam pronto, like yesterday, because literally was glitching. Like, oh, throw out. Listen, Linda. Listen, Linda. It's been that last testimony was infuriating. He was blatantly lying. I don't care whose side you're on. I don't care about whose product, you want to believe that. You got to admit that guy was freaking lying. Yeah, he named himself a forensic psychiatrist. He's got no board certifications because I was like too busy learning hands-on in my 5 group, like that. Like I didn't have the time. I was so, getting my resume going with what? 40 years ago, okay, that I didn't get the board certification. You've had a 50-year career and you didn't get board certified, nothing? That's wild. Because you didn't pass it, buddy. Don't lie. It's because you failed the exam. Don't lie. Don't lie. Not because you never had time to pass. All these other people, experts who got nothing but all of these, had time to take a board certification, and you said you didn't have time. All right, just checking.
And hey guys, if you can go to She Shed Gossip and make sure you are subscribing to her and liking her live. That would help.
What is she at now? What is she at? What is she should at? We're trying to get her
Um,
subscribers up, guys.
can somebody go check?
Yeah, she wants to start doing some videos and stuff over here. So, what is his experience in postpartum? He'd had none. Hellborn was described by one reporter as having the jury highly engaged with his testimony. Oh, I believe it. I believe it. I mean, I believe it. That guy at least talked. He was a talker. Even though everything he was saying wasn't true, he was fluffing. He at least had the context of the situation right, though. Yeah, that's pretty sad. Who was live on YouTube earlier?
She Shed. We're all streaming this on all of our channels. So if you guys can make sure that you like each of the live videos, it does help. It does help us. And then make sure you like Ivory's and
She's up to 93, guys. We can get her up to 100.
yeah, anybody who's not subbing to her, go sub.
Yeah, all of the channels are live at the same time, guys. We're running it on all. So every creator who's in here gets credit for it. So yeah, don't forget to go and sub to her. We can get her up to 100 tonight. I'm just so mad. Man, listen, I need to go like woosah from this whole testimony. Like, I'm not even lying. Like, I feel like I'm just so aggravated. Crisis negotiation. Yeah, that's what he does for a living.
And I want to say thank you to Sarah and Susan for modding my chat as well. Make sure there was no inappropriate comments, and I really appreciated that.
What was I just gonna say? I don't know. I just had a thought and I lost it. I'm so mad right now that that guy just did that. Like, it's so wild to me. Like, I feel like, I don't know, man. I know this has been a hot and heavy case, like one of those, like, really, like, emotionally draining cases, but this nonsense pisses me off that much worse. That people can get away with doing this crap, calling themselves experts, and yet you weren't even board certified. What are you an expert in? Like, what? Teenagers? Wasn't he another one? What's up with all these kids that you want to bring all these? Come on.
Well, you can see as a society, no offense to anybody, but just these conspiracies with Patrick, how like these doctors might be. I don't know. I'm just we're doomed in our society.
I can't believe I need to watch that again. I can't believe he sat there and said she took handfuls and handfuls of pills, and I just for the life of me don't understand how she took all those pills at once. Like, what? Oh, here's an update on the poll. Hold on. Ooh, the not criminally responsible went up. Hung jury, 19%. Really think it's going to be a hung jury? I think there's more of a chance right now for a mistrial with the way this crap is growing with the Commonwealth than a hung jury. What do you guys think? Do you guys see a hung jury here?
I think that's a possibility just because it involves 3 children.
Yeah.
And people not under release. I mean, I've seen the people that are really aggressively hating on her, and they just don't understand, and they were like, there's no excuse. So I can see some of that being in the jury pool too.
Your mom said hung jury? Yeah, I mean, I can see how a jury is confused by all of this and it's a hung jury. Before rebuttal, it was 62% not criminally responsible, 18 guilty. Oh, that's wild. I don't know. I don't know. This is all just crazy.
And he was so boring. It was so boring and just monotone, and he wasn't answering. He was just glitching like
Monotone. He
a
was
robot.
monotone. The guy wasn't talking. He was just like you said a whole bunch of nothing, man. And then I can't. It's that story with the pills that just I don't know why that's bothering me so much. I can see how people think she's responsible. What is the? I'm not sure. After seeing Phoenix Rising in her chat, I can see how people can think she's responsible. I feel like, listen, this is the reason his testimony is going to be the reason why people run with the whole Patrick did it thing, right? It's because they're going to hear that and they're going to be like, well, Patrick told him. It was only Patrick who told him. You know what I mean? That's going to give these people just what they need to go run. Someone just said in the comment section, do you know Rascal Flats? That was funny. That Patrick is suing creators. Do you know somebody came into one of my comments on one of my videos and was like, oh, I'm giving your name so you can be sued by Patrick. And I'm like, are you watching my videos? I'm like, please do. I'm so tired. I'm ready for bed after this afternoon. It's only 9:10 p.m. here. Listen, this was mentally draining. It's only 4:11 here. Man, it's been a long day. This was a lot. This has been a lot. But on this note, guys, we could do a recap tonight. On a lighter note, Red Sun has a metal band that plays in Boston. Does he really? I wonder if Red plays or does anything with music. That's kind of funny. But guys, I'm gonna end this here. We can recap on TikTok later, but yeah, I need to go think about this and probably put out some videos. So guys, we'll be back tomorrow. I'm gonna start streaming over here at 10 because I like the fact that I can zoom past everything and not wait for the sidebars and stuff. So I'll start back over here at 10. Patrick has filed a real civil lawsuit, but it's against Lindsay's. Yes. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. They both did. Guys, thank you again so much. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys later.